Did Spartans abandon weak babies? Welcome to AI Future Past, where we uncover the truths behind history's most intriguing stories. Today, we're diving into one of the most controversial questions about ancient Sparta. Did Spartans really abandon weak babies? Buckle up, because what you think you know might just be a modern myth. When we think of Sparta, the first images that come to mind are fierce warriors, relentless discipline, and a society obsessed with physical perfection. But at the heart of their legendary toughness lies a chilling claim that Spartan society systematically abandoned weak or deformed infants to die. Could this possibly be true? Let's start by peeling back the layers of history and separating fact from fiction. The idea that Spartans disposed of unfit babies largely comes from ancient sources like Plutarch, a Greek historian who wrote centuries after the events he described. Plutarch tells us that newborn Spartan boys were inspected by a council of elders. If they were deemed healthy, they were allowed to live and grow into warriors. If not, they were supposedly taken to a place called the Apothetai, a pit or chasm near Mount Taygetus, and left to die. Sounds horrifying, right? But here's the catch. We don't have any direct evidence to prove this practice actually happened. Let's think critically for a moment. Plutarch wrote his accounts during the Roman period, long after the height of Spartan power. Historians today debate how much of his narrative is fact and how much is embellishment to fit the image of Sparta as a harsh, almost alien society. It's worth noting that Plutarch wasn't even Spartan. He was a Greek from Boeotia, writing for a Roman audience that loved sensational tales. Could this story have been exaggerated to make Sparta's discipline seem more extreme? But let's not dismiss it entirely. Spartan society was famously militaristic, and their primary goal was to produce strong, capable warriors. Male citizens were expected to serve in the army, while women's primary role was to bear strong children. This obsession with physical fitness is well documented. Spartans even conducted public competitions to encourage physical excellence, not just among men, but women too. So, would a society so focused on strength really risk raising individuals who couldn't contribute to their military-driven state? Here's where it gets even more interesting. Archaeological evidence from Spartan cemeteries doesn't support the idea of widespread infanticide. In fact, remains of infants and children found in Sparta show no signs of selective abandonment. This raises an important question. If weak babies were systematically discarded, why don't we see evidence of it in the archaeological record? Could it be that this selection process was less about abandonment and more about ensuring adequate care for the strong? Now, let's talk about cultural context. The idea of exposing unwanted infants wasn't unique to Sparta. Many ancient Greek city-states practiced some form of infanticide, often leaving unwanted babies in the wilderness. However, in most cases, these infants weren't necessarily left to die. They could be rescued by others and raised as slaves or adopted. Could it be that Spartan babies left at the Apothetai met a similar fate? We'll never know for sure, but it's a possibility worth considering. It's also important to question what weak really meant to the Spartans. Some historians suggest that this wasn't purely about physical deformities or illness. Weakness could have been a more subjective term, encompassing factors like the child's parentage or even the political climate at the time. And remember, Sparta was a small, insular society. Every citizen was valuable. Would they really discard potential warriors so readily? Another fascinating twist is the role of Spartan women. Unlike in many other ancient societies, Spartan women were highly respected and enjoyed significant rights. They were the gatekeepers of the warrior class, and their opinions carried weight. If a child's mother believed in their potential, could she have influenced the decision to spare them? This adds another layer of complexity to the story. Here's a hook for you. If Spartan babies weren't abandoned en masse, why has this myth persisted for so long? The answer might lie in how we've romanticized Sparta over the centuries. From ancient historians to modern movies like 300, Sparta has been portrayed as the ultimate warrior society. The idea of a culture so ruthless that it would sacrifice its own infants fits neatly into that narrative, doesn't it? But reality, as always, is more nuanced. Modern historians believe that while Sparta may have had rigorous standards for its citizens, the systematic abandonment of babies was likely rare or symbolic rather than a widespread practice. It's a reminder that history isn't always what it seems. Sometimes, the myths we love to tell say more about us than the people we're describing. So, did Spartans abandon weak babies? The answer isn't as black and white as we've been led to believe. While there's some evidence to suggest they valued physical perfection, the idea of systematic infanticide is likely exaggerated. It's a story that's been shaped by centuries of retelling, each version adding its own spin. Thanks for joining us on this journey through one of history's most enduring myths. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more thought-provoking content from AI Future Past. What do you think? Were the Spartans as ruthless as they've been portrayed? Or is this another case of history being written by outsiders? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.